Hello, everybody. I just left lunch with my family to come home and report on this story. Today, there are at least two families that will hold Thanksgiving dinner with one empty seat each. Two National Guardsmen were murdered in Washington, D.C. today, about a block away from Lafayette Square, guarding a metro subway entrance. We don't have a ton of details on the situation right now, but here's what we do have. My brother is in the National Guard, so the story is extremely close to me. I'm furious, and I really hope the administration does something, and does something big about this. Nick Sorter tweeted, "Breaking, horrifying photo of U.S. Secret Service treating a National Guard soldier who's been shot in the head near the White House. This is infuriating. This is happening on the streets of our capital, and Democrats pretend there's no problem. Deploy more troops." This is obviously censored. I have seen the uncensored version of this photo. The guardsman was shot in the head, and the matter from inside of his head and the blood is all over the ground here. You can obviously see broken glass. They shot through the bus stop that's next to it. It appears that this might have been a drive-by shooting, but I'm not 100% certain. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to show uncensored photos of that. But we do have a video here of one of the victims of the shooting involving the National Guard members being transported to a helicopter. The governor of, I believe, West Virginia has confirmed that these guardsmen, who I believe are West Virginia National Guardsmen, are dead. It is with great sorrow that we confirm both members of the West Virginia National Guard, who were shot earlier today in Washington, D.C., have passed away from their injuries. These brave West Virginians lost their lives in service of their country. We are in ongoing contact with federal officials as the investigation continues. Our entire state grieves with the families, their loved ones, and the Guard community. West Virginia will never forget their service or their sacrifice, and we will demand full accountability for this horrific act." Like I said, there are two families that will have an empty place at their dinner table this week. As you gather with your families, as you sit around the table and talk with your loved ones, just remember how thankful you are for them, because they very well could not be there. And there are two families this week. Two families whose sons, brothers, maybe fathers, were killed in the line of duty this week by a terrorist. And I'm not implying anything with that statement. This person is a terrorist, regardless of what they look like, what their faith is, what color their skin is. This person is a terrorist. These people were killed by terrorists, robbed, their lives robbed from their families, robbed from them, prematurely and early. A lot of these National Guardsmen are, and names haven't been released, we don't know who these guardsmen were. A lot of them are very young guys. When the LA riots were going on, very, very young guys. When I was in D.C., the guardsmen that were there, very young guys. You know, just because they're in the Guard doesn't mean they necessarily support Trump, doesn't mean they voted for Trump. They signed up to serve their country, and that's what they're doing. They're following their orders. And their orders are not fascist orders. They're not out there stormtrooping and rounding up all the brown people and sending them to jail or executing them. They were guarding a subway station. They're just making their area of duty a little safer. D.C., when Trump deployed the National Guard, had the 4th highest murder rate in the country. And now it has one of the lowest. Because of the National Guard presence in the city. There is a really kind of disturbing video. It doesn't show anything. You're not going to see any gore or blood or anything like that, but there's a video I want to show you guys of Secret Service and other guardsmen trying to keep these guys alive. I know Tim Cast posted it. Just go to Timcast News. Just gotta find it real quick. Maybe they took it down. I thought I had bookmarked it. It might have gotten taken. Oh, this is it, I guess. Oh, maybe I did bookmark it. Hold up. So these are Secret Service agents and National Guardsmen attempting to revive one of the murdered guardsmen, rendering aid. And obviously, like I said, these guys didn't make it. You can see the bus stop shattered here. That's where all the broken glass came from. Just despicable. And what causes things like this to happen? We actually have a depiction of the shooter already. We have an aerial photo of the shooter. He got shot. He's wounded. Trump issued a statement. We'll read that in a second. This is the man who opened fire on the National Guard just one day before Thanksgiving. He was taken away in handcuffs after being shot, stripped, and loaded into a stretcher before being placed in an ambulance. Both National Guard members shot near the White House are now in critical condition. We now know that they're dead. They're not alive anymore. I'm not going to say who it was. I'm not going to say what I'm thinking. I'm not going to say my suspicions, but just go ahead and take a look at that photo and let me know who you think it was. I know who I think it was. I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to let you guys take a guess. I'm not going to make any accusations about what ideology I think drove this or what this person was thinking when they decided to senselessly murder 2 National Guardsmen who were doing nothing more than keeping the subway safe. I think you've got a pretty good idea of who did it and why. I think it's pretty obvious. I think there's no doubt. A lot of people are wondering, why is he naked? He got shot. They probably stripped him to make sure he didn't have any more weapons on him, and also to make sure that they could treat his wounds. Personally, I don't think he deserved to have his wounds treated. I'm more in the camp of get the firing squad ready, make the trial as quick as possible, bring back the gallows maybe. Here is a Democrat on ABC telling their constituents that the National Guard were deployed to kill American citizens.
Warning to say, like, if you're asked to do something, look at these videos coming out of places like Chicago. It makes me incredibly nervous that we're about to see people in law enforcement, people in uniform military get nervous. Look at these videos coming out of places like Chicago. It makes me incredibly nervous that we're about to see people in law enforcement, people in uniform military get nervous, get stressed, shoot at American civilians. It is a very, very stressful situation for these law enforcement. and for the communities on the ground. So it was basically a warning to say, like, if you're asked to do something, particularly against American citizens.
Fear mongering. Oh, I didn't play it. Here. We'll play it one more time, just so you guys can see what's going on. Sorry, I didn't have it pulled up.
Look at these videos coming out of places like Chicago. It makes me incredibly nervous that we're about to see people in law enforcement, people in uniform military get nervous, get stressed, shoot at American civilians. It is a very, very stressful situation for these law enforcement and for the communities on the ground. So it was basically a warning to say, like, if you're asked to do something, particularly against American citizens.
It doesn't end there, guys. Here is Chicago's Mayor Brandon Johnson leading a protest against the National Guard and demonizing them. Just pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to the signs. They called it a violation of federal law. It's not true. 10 U.S. Code 12406 very clearly says the President of the United States has the right to federalize the National Guard under Title 10 of U.S. Code and deploy them wherever he sees fit, as long as federal law cannot be enforced adequately with regular forces, or there's a risk of rebellion, or there's international invasion. There's no international invasion. Well, depends on how you look at it. But there's certainly a case to be made that there's a risk of rebellion, as our ICE facilities are routinely attacked, rammed with cars, and shot up. Federal law can't be enforced with regular forces. That's been shown. We're wasting millions of dollars every day in places like Portland, Seattle, Chicago, because the driveways are blocked. Cars ram into federal agents, etc. I've got another video to show you guys. Here's CNN, a guest on CNN, who implies the National Guard are Nazis.
Actually, what the
Here, let me pull it up for you guys.
Actually, what the president is doing through the Secretary of Defense is creating units, official military units, to, quite frankly, watch the American people. And that's the thing that is absolutely abhorrent. It reminds me so much of what happened in Germany in the 1930s.
Implying that, again, the National Guard are stormtrooper Nazis. And I wonder why people went and decided to murder them randomly. Again, I'll show you this image. This is the tweet from Nick Sorter. It's blacked out or whited out. I'm not going to show you guys the full image. I've seen it. It's not beautiful. His brain matters on the ground. Blood everywhere. So West Virginia National Guardman murdered in the streets of Washington, D.C., 1 block away from the White House. There better be a response from the federal government, from the Trump administration, that is monumentous. Whoever's responsible for it, whether it's Antifa, whether it's radical Islamists, whether it's communists, I don't care if it's a far-right faction. I don't care. Something's got to get done about it. No more of this pansy footing around. Oh, we're going to designate this group a terrorist organization. We're going to designate that group a terrorist organization. If you designate them a terrorist organization, arrest every single member and send them to jail. Otherwise, shit like this is going to keep happening. If you are a member of a terrorist organization, you should not be allowed to freely roam the streets of this country and engage in civil disobedience, in acts of law violation, at unlawful assemblies all around this country. You should be in jail. Not free to shoot up National Guardsmen in Washington, D.C. And now that it's in Trump's backyard, I hope that he actually does something about it. And when I say his backyard, I mean literally in his backyard. Let's pull up Google Maps. And I'm not, I fully support Trump, right? But it is a little bit frustrating when we designate Antifa a foreign designated terrorist organization and nothing gets done about them. So I just want to show you how close this is. This is the White House right here. Right here, this is the White House. Okay? This is Lafayette Square. This is where the shooting happened. Right here. Farragut Metro Station. Right here. This is where it happened. This is exactly where the shooting happened. Is right here. 1 block away from Lafayette Square, which is effectively the back or front yard, depending on how you look at it, of the White House. So I really hope something happens. I really hope the Trump administration does something about it now that it's in their backyard. They have been protesting in Washington, D.C. endlessly for months against the National Guard, calling them Nazis, stormtroopers, telling them that they're defying their oaths, etc., despite the fact that they're not defying their oaths. They've done nothing illegal. Their orders aren't unlawful. And it's working. Again, 4th highest murder rate in the country dropped to almost nothing. Why? When you have soldiers in the streets, the bad guys tend to stay home. Us good people are too big of cowards. In a lot of cases, yeah. Suspect hit 4 times, still alive. Really? Hit 4 times? I didn't see... I was actually looking at the photo of the suspect, and I didn't see a single bullet hole in him, unfortunately. This is the suspect here. I don't see any bullet holes in him, but... And it's too bad. We need to be tougher. Too often this stuff gets ignored, 100%. Voted for Trump, genius. I don't know what you're saying. I mean, listen, despite voting for him, I have a right to criticize him. I'd prefer Trump to Kamala Harris any day. So go off. Wasn't an automatic weapon used? We don't know yet, I don't think. Let's check. Some live updates from Fox News. 2 National Guardsmen killed in shooting near White House, suspect in custody, per officials. 2 members of the West Virginia National Guard have died in a shooting on Wednesday in Washington, D.C., close to Farragut Metro Station, and within walking distance of the White House, authorities have confirmed. 2 sources also confirmed to Fox News that 2 National Guard members were shot about a mile from the White House. D.C. Metro Police said 1 suspect is in custody. Quote, "These brave West Virginians lost their lives in service to their country," Morrissey wrote in an X post. That's the governor. Quote, "We are in ongoing contact with federal officials as the investigation continues. Our entire state grieves with their families, loved ones, and the National Guard community," he continued. "West Virginia will never forget their service or their sacrifice, and we demand full accountability for this horrific act." The White House has been placed on lockdown. Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Cashapp have both been briefed and are receiving continuous updates, according to reports. The FBI remains on the scene with investigators, have not released any information regarding the suspect or motive. But we've got a pretty good idea of what the motive was. Let's just be completely transparent and real here. We got a pretty good idea of what the motive was. Quote, "The animal that shot 2 National Guardsmen with both being critically wounded, are now in separate hospitals. Is also severely wounded, but regardless, will pay a very steep price, Trump said in a Truth Social post. God bless our National Guard and all of our military and law enforcement. These are truly great people. I, as President of the United States, and everyone associated with the office of the presidency, am with you, Trump said. This is a developing story. That's all Fox News has got. So pretty much what I already told you. I'm disgusted. Like I said, I was literally at lunch with family when this happened, and knew I needed to get over to you guys as quick as I could and report on this. Before he goes to court, they need to put him in a gym with a soldiers unit. Listen, I think that'd be fair. It's making me very mad. It's making me super mad too.